students. We are so happy that you joined us. This is our Budget Engagement Student Roundtable. So this is an opportunity for us, the central office, leadership, especially our chancellor and deputy chancellors, to hear from you all, our most important customers, about your experience and how you think that we should be spending our money. So we're really appreciative of you being here. We're gonna start off with introductions. So we did a quick roll call, but we'll do a little bit more of a deeper introduction, so you'll have a chance to say hi and who you are and where you're from. And then we'll get into the discussion. The Chancellor will share with you all a little bit about how the budget process works. And then we have some questions that we want to hear from you all from. In case you missed it at the beginning, we'll be using the raise hands feature. So as we get into the discussion portion, feel free to raise your hand if you have something you want to add to the conversation, and Jerry or I will call on you. Don't be afraid to speak up. We want to hear from everyone, and all of your ideas are great ideas, and all of your questions are great questions. So please feel free to share freely. And then we'll close out around 2:55, and we'll send you all back to school. So from here, I will turn it to our Chancellor, Louis Farabee, and he will get into the content of today's session. Chancellor?
Good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you, Natalie. As Natalie introduced, I am Louis Farabee, Chancellor for the District of Columbia Public Schools. And as Chancellor, it's my pleasure to lead our district, to supervise and guide your principals, the administration, to give you the best possible experience in DCPS as you prepare for college and career. The goals of today is to get your feedback on what priorities DCPS should have for its upcoming budget year, to address the unique needs that you have and your classmates in your school. As you think about your comments today, I want you to not only think about your own school, whether you're at Ron Brown, Roosevelt, Coolidge, Dunbar, Woodson, but also think about what students across the district may need, and even beyond high school. We are open to discussions today about elementary school, middle school. Many of you may have siblings or other younger family members in DCPS. I will also share today more information about the current DCPS development process for our budget and what that process looks like and how we have points of engagement throughout that process. And then we'll get an opportunity today to hear directly from you on what, again, you think the priorities are, what we should focus on as we prepare for fiscal year 24, which would be our budget for next school year, the 23-24 school year. So that is our goal for today and some of our objectives. And in the next slide, I'm going to share a little bit more about what we expect from you. So we're going to ask that you briefly tell us about yourself. If you give us your name, your grade, and one word that describes your year thus far, we'll greatly appreciate that. We hope that your Monday is off to a great start. So with that, I am happy to start by calling a name that I see, or if anyone wants to jump out there and be the first person, you're welcome to do. And I see Jasmine has a hand up. Why don't we start with Jasmine? Give us your name, grade, and the word that describes your year thus far.
Okay, so my name's Zaria. Actually, I know it's different names. So my name's Zaria. I'm in the 10th, and one word that describes my year, it's been a good year so far. So yeah.
Good. Now Zaria, are you Jasmine or Jasmine is Zaria? Which one? Are you using somebody else's credentials?
She is using my my login, but it's Zaria from Baloo.
Got you. Thank you, Zaria from Baloo. All right. Why don't we go with Rodney? Rodney, why don't you go next? And Rodney, is that you, Rodney? Or are you logging in as somebody else?
Yes, this my principal account right now, but this is Shannon Bradshaw from Luke Seymour. I'm actually in the 10th grade, and one word that describes my year would be Uh, it is very surprising, but I wouldn't give one word. But I would say I'm having a great year so far.
Okay. All right. We got good and great thus far. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. Let's see here. I see Brooke. Is that really Brooke, or is somebody logged in as Brooke? Not hearing a response, so we welcome the next person. Who would like to go next?
We can go ahead and go school by school, and that way we might be able to make sure we get to everybody. So do we want to start maybe with Anacostia, and students from Anacostia, introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Darian. I'm from Anacostia. I'm a 12th grader. And one thing I would like to say about this year, it been I could say fun, great. It's overall been a good year so far.
Okay, another good year. Thank you, Darian. Appreciate you logging in. What about Coolidge? Anybody here representing Coolidge?
Hi, my name is Nevaeh Bright. I'm in the 12th grade, and to describe this year, I would say so far it's been exciting.
Thank you. Exciting. Love that word. I see we got a lot of seniors in the house. Would love to hear about your senior year thus far. Why don't we go? Who we got representing Roosevelt?
I'm here, Imani.
What grade are you in, Imani?
My name is Imani. I'm in 12th grade, and one word that describes this year is been busy.
Busy. Thank you, Imani. Another senior. What about Columbia Heights Education Campus?
Hello, my name is Isaac Fuentes. I am a senior at Columbia Heights Educational Campus. So far, my year has been very productive and exhilarating.
Exhilarating. Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Let's go Dunbar. Got anybody on for Dunbar?
Hi, my name is Kadu Zurihoon. I'm in the 12th grade, and one word that I would describe this year is hectic. And I also have with me another Dunbar student.
Hi, my name is Genesis. I'm in the 10th grade, and this school year's been pretty good.
Okay. Thank you, too, for joining us today. Let's go to Woodson.
Hey, y'all can hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Anthony Wages. I'm in the 10th grade. A word I would use to describe my year so far is remarkable, because my school gets better every year. That's how I feel so far.
Excellent. Love that attitude. Continue to get better, continuous improvement. What about Banneker?
My name's Chelsea. I'm in the 12th grade. I guess my year has been very progressive. There's been a lot of change, but I would say that most of the change has been positive.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Let's go to McKinley. Go ahead.
So both Banneker representatives?
Oh, you got another Banneker representative. What's your name?
My name is Johannes Alamayo. I'm in the 11th grade. And one word to describe my year is information.
Thank you for joining us today. Now, why don't we go McKinley?
Hey, I'm Dax. I'm in the 9th grade, and one word that would describe my year so far would be unexpected.
Unexpected. Interesting one. Okay, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, this is also a McKinley student. My name is Issa Misa. I'm a junior, and a word I'd pick to describe my year is probably cosmic.
Give me that word again.
Cosmic.
Cosmic. Okay. Okay, that's creative. Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us today. Let's go to School Without Walls.
Hi, I'm Hugo. I'm a junior, and one word I'd use to describe my year is busy.
Thank you, Hugo. I appreciate you joining us today. Why don't we go Cardozo?
Hi, my name is Evangeline. I'm in 11th grade, and one word I would use to describe my year so far is interesting.
Interesting. Thank you for joining us today. Let's see. Let's go to Phelps.
Hi, my name is Jeremiah. I'm in the 10th grade, and one word to describe my year so far is extreme.
Extreme. Thank you. I appreciate you joining us today. Let's go to East. Oh, you got another student?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Elijah. I go to Phelps too. I'm in the 11th grade, and one word I can describe: peaceful for me.
Thank you, Elijah. We need lots of peace. So thank you. I like that word. Let's go Eastern.
My name is Sky. I'm a junior, and a word to describe my year is dramatic and eventful.
Thank you. I like those words as well. Jackson Reed, why don't you go next?
Hi, my name is Gabrielle McKinley. I'm a senior, and one word to describe my year is been very busy.
Very busy. Got another busy in the house. Okay. Anybody else from Jackson Reed? Let's go Duke Ellington.
Hi, my name is Mickey Mulligetta. I'm a senior at Duke Ellington, and the word that I would use to describe my year is creative. I'm also here with...
My name is Sana Stringford, and I'm also a senior, and one word I would use to describe my year would be productive.
Thank you for joining us. Great to have you here. We have anyone from Blue State?
Yeah, my name is Ricky Atlantis. I'm in the 12th, and one word I will pick is spontaneous.
Spontaneous. I like that one. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see here. Roosevelt State.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steven Flores. I'm 12th grade. And one word to describe my year so far would be decent year.
Thank you for joining us. I greatly have you here. But so many seniors in here. It's good. Who else? We got somebody else?
I'm sorry. My name is Tracy Robinson. I'm also from Roosevelt State, and I'm in the 11th. And a word I can use to describe my year is challenging.
Challenging. Good. Hopefully that's a positive challenge that is good for you and your growth and your development. Let's see here. I think I may have gotten to anybody I missed.
River Terrace.
River Terrace. Who do I have?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Trayshawn Branch. One thing I could say about my word today is supportive.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew, and another word I can say is productive.
Hi, my name is Aurora. I'm a junior here at School Without Walls, and one word I'd use to describe my year is interesting, because there always seems to be something new that happens.
Thank you for joining us.
Then Bard. Did we get Bard?
And I'm not sure. I think Ron Brown may still be without power.
Oh yeah, we're here. Good afternoon.
You're here? Good afternoon.
I'm Malik. I'm in 10th grade, and one word I would use to describe my year would be enlightening.
And I'm Kasim Tate, and I'm a 10th grader, and one word I could use is informing.
Thank you. Love the vocabulary. Thank you for joining us today.
We have two more students from Luke Seymour High School that want to speak. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dominique. I'm in grade 12, and this year has been exceptional.
Exceptional. I love that word. Thank you.
One more.
My name is Angel. I'm a 10th grader. One word to describe my school or the school year would be extraordinary. And
thank you. Have we missed anyone before we go forward?
If we can have Deputy Chancellor Amy Maestera and Deputy Chancellor Jorana Bay do a quick introduction as well.
Thanks, Jerry, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm also so excited to be here and hear from you. My team supports the budget development process to which the Chancellor spoke, and it is really important to hear from all of you what is most important for you to be successful. So again, really excited to meet you all and hear from you today. Thank you.
Hello, again, my name is Druwana Bay. I get the opportunity to work on the seed side of our organization. I'm really excited to be here with you today to hear from you what's working and what are areas that we can continue to lean in on. I would say one word that describes my year so far, I'm going to hyphenate and say ever-changing, but in a good way. So really appreciate hearing from each of you in terms of how your year is going so far, and looking forward to this conversation.
Looks like we have a note. We have 2 more students for Columbia Heights. Do you have somebody that needs to introduce themselves?
Hi, my name is Theo Ezra, and one word to describe my year would be leadership.
Hi, my name is Lisbeth. I'm in 11th grade, and one word I would describe this year would be interesting.
Thank you. Thank you again for joining us. I like the word leadership. I think it sets the tone for the conversation today because we view you as leaders for DCPS, and we thank you for taking the time to be a part of this conversation to help form our budget for next school year. While many of you are seniors and you'll be graduating in June and leaving us, we know that you have ideas and thoughts about the future of DCPS, and those of you who are not seniors yet, we look forward to supporting you throughout your high school journey. I'm going to start with a refresher of just what is included in the DCPS budget and how the budget is formed. There's 3 layers to the DCPS budget. First layer is enrollment. And what that means is the majority of the funds that come to your school to support you are based on the number of students in your building. And so there's a dollar amount assigned to each student, and those dollars follow you to your school. So for example, if there is $100 assigned to every student in a building, and we know that there's 500 students in that school, how much money would that school have? It's a quick math question.
50,000.
50,000, excellent. And so that is how we start the budget for a school, is there's a dollar amount assigned to each student based on, again, the number of students in that building that sums to the total allocation to that school. On top of the number that schools get for enrollment, we then apply what we call targeted supports. And targeted supports, these are additional dollars that are also given on a per student basis, but they're given to special populations. So for example, if the school has students that are receiving special education services, if a school has students that are receiving English language learner services or other additional resources, then they receive additional dollars per student on top of that amount. So for example, if you had 500 students and each student received a base enrollment of 100, that's 50,000. But let's say of those 500 students, 100 of those students are receiving special education services. And we are giving an additional $100 for each student. So if you take that 100 and you multiply that by 100, we would add that to a school's budget. And so that school now would have $10,000 in addition to that $50,000 for a total of $60,000. So again, schools will get more dollars per pupil for targeted supports. And then the last layer is what we call stability funds. If you add up all the dollars that you get for your enrollment, all the dollars you get for targeted support, if that is not enough to deliver on the services that your school needs, then we provide what we call stability dollars to ensure that the school has the money they need year over year. And that means from one school year to the next. And so those are the three layers in which schools receive funds in DCPS. And every school in DCPS receives funding in this same way, for the most part. So go to the next slide. I'm going to highlight what we are trying to accomplish through this conversation and our continuous improvement process for school budgeting. Each year, we strive to be more transparent. We want you want community members, we want everyone to understand the budget and how schools receive their funding. We want to continue to be flexible, to give your principals, your school administrators, greater flexibility to make decisions, make changes or adjustments, and be nimble to meet the needs of the student population. And the ultimate goal, again, is to better align our resources with your student needs. That may mean that you need additional support in math. May mean you need additional support helping prepare for college or career. We want to ensure that we have those resources. And schools use those resources very differently based on the students in their building. And so that's how schools are funded. But we know, as I said earlier, there's still ways in which we can improve our budget, which is why we're here today. And so in the next slide, I want to highlight some of the engagement steps in the process and the timeline in which we develop our budget. So in November, December, we have public hearings. We've already had our public hearing where we invite everyone to comment on the budget. And now we're in the student engagement phase of the work. And then we will continue to share information about the projection for enrollment. And that's, again, how many students will be in the building for next school year. And then we'll collaborate with LSATs, which stands for Local School Advisory Team. That is the team in your school that makes the decisions of what happens to your budget. We'll have some more community budget sessions, and then your school will receive their allocation. And that is how much money that they will get for next school year based on their enrollment. And then the school will have some time to finalize their budget based on all the features that they want to offer for students for next school year. And that is our process from November, December up into late March and early April. So I'll stop there before we get to our discussion section to see if there's any question that this group has for me about how the DCPS budget is formed and how we engage with students in the community. All right, I think we have addressed all of our questions. No one has any additional questions at this moment, but we do have questions for you. So our questions for you are around what the top priorities should be for your school, for you and your classmates as we think about the budget for next year. So we want to hear from you. What priorities should I be thinking about? Our team should be thinking about. And then we also know that schools need funding for student needs. And so we want to know what ideas you have around what student needs are right now, based on your experience and the experience of your peers. And then the last question is, what new thing would you want DCPS to prioritize? What new idea would you want me to be aware of? So as we set our goals around the next 5 years of excellence for DCPS, what is the new thing that you think we should be prioritizing and thinking about for our budget? Again, so 2 to 3 priorities for your school. What are the student needs? And is there something new you want to put on our radar? So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our team that's going to facilitate the question and discussion period that we're in right now. And again, we greatly appreciate you making the time to talk with us today and share your ideas.
Awesome. So we'll start off with the first question. What do you think the top 2 to 3 budget priorities would be for your school? according to your classmates. And we'll start off with the raise the hand feature. So if you feel comfortable sharing first, go ahead, raise your hand, and then Natalie and myself will call you off, and then we'll spend about 10 minutes or so on this question, and then we'll move forward.
Looks like we already have lots of raised hands, which is great. So we can go ahead and start in order. I see Lisbeth, I think that's Columbia Heights, has a hand up.
Yes. Hello. So we have 3 main ones that in our school we have discussed highly. The first would be, if I'm not wrong, it's the library. So I know that funding isn't exactly, I guess, permanent for the libraries. I guess the main thing would be, I guess, kind of making sure that like our libraries are, you know, still receiving enough money for the newer books to be sustainable. Yes.
Thank you.
Our second topic would probably have to be bathrooms. So revolving around the bathrooms, it'll be bathrooms for non-binary and transgender students, just so that they feel more welcome and that they're able to have a place where they can safely use the restroom, or they can at least feel welcome without having to conform to just male or female roles.
And the third budget priority that we would suggest would be capital improvements, where we will have like more emergency repairs. Like if anything is damaged, we will take care of it, or just have more new stuff, because like for example our school, like we haven't really had many new like furniture and stuff that were like, and there's like stuff that are broken sometimes, and it was built 16 years ago, so we need some repairs sometimes, and we will like to have some more funding in that area.
Thank you.
And then going down the list, is it Nevaeh?
Yes. Okay, so for Coolidge, we said that mental health programs, I think, should be a priority, because school can be stressful for a lot of students, and prioritizing mental health resources is really important to hopefully help ease the mind of students. Second, I said funding for internships, especially for undocumented students, because for me, I'm in the early college academy at Coolidge, and we have so many great opportunities presented to us. So I think that it's really important to have programs where other students can be able to have great working experiences as well. And then the last one we have is test prep assistance, because when it comes down to testings like SATs or AP testing, we think that it's important that students get the best support to be able to help that time frame go smoother.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. Great feedback.
And then next, is it Johannes?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Johannes from Banneker. In terms of budget priorities here at Banneker, one thing that I've heard the student body, I don't want to say complain, but kind of converse amongst themselves about a lot, is the food at Banneker. Something that I would propose is just funding the food program, both breakfast and lunch, a bit more, so we can have access to more quality food that students can enjoy. Another thing that I don't exactly know the budget has any influence on this, but I do know that the chancellor can maybe do something about this, is permitting us to kind of start allowing schools to sell food or fundraise food on their own. I know there's a lot of things that kind of prohibit this, including, you know, the Healthy Foods Act and things like that, that kind of restrict schools from selling certain food items at certain times. So if there's anything that you as the chancellor can do to kind of maybe alter these rules, or just amend them so it can kind of give leeway to schools to kind of fund other things on their own instead of always having to rely on the budget. One more thing, here at Banneker, there was kind of an issue with us being a Title I school, and this had a huge impact on the student body because our data was kind of messed up. And as you know, it's required that 35% of the student body is eligible for free and reduced lunch for the whole student body to be eligible for free and reduced lunch. And I just wanted to know if there is anything that you or anybody else is doing to make sure that our data isn't messed up again. I know we're in the process of being reinstated, but I just wanted to know if this is going to happen again, because I've seen a lot of students physically refuse lunch because they aren't able to afford it. And if budgeting can help us with this in terms of providing more food or more money to the lunch program, that would be great. But other than that, that's pretty much it for me.
Thank you, Johannes. So on the regulations for what can be provided for food for schools, the majority of the regulations are actually federal regulations that determine what can be served, when and how, and those are regulations that we have to adhere to. Otherwise, we would lose funding for it. But we'll give that feedback to our food and nutrition team, and we always work to ensure that you have healthy but also tasty food as well that you have access to, and be sensitive to all the dietary restrictions and allergies that our students may have. Secondly, for Title I status, as you've outlined, it is related to students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And that is something students and their families have to report to the school. And if they do report that, we do our best to take an accurate account of that so we can determine whether the school is eligible for those federal resources or not. So we'll keep our eyes on Banneker. I appreciate you raising those issues up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then next we have Daxon Duncan.
Hey, so there are a few things I have for you. So first of all, teachers, I've heard them talking about it. I've heard students talking about this. Teachers bring it up all the time. I hear them. They're like paying out of pocket for a lot of their school supplies. So maybe there could be more of like a classroom fund, just so like teachers don't have to pay for any school supplies. I know that kind of already exists, but teachers still have to pay for their own school supplies, which is kind of wild. But and then also, I hear people talking about this all the time. The metal detectors that we have, there are only 2 of them, and they're old, and there are a lot of us, and so there's stuff's just it's backed up a lot, and because McKinley is historical, the entrances are limited, so we should try to prioritize ways to make entry equitable at McKinley. And also, this is a bit of a pipe dream, but funding for clubs, because I know that like the drama club has like 0 funding. The drama teacher has to pay out of pocket for everything. We don't have the money to fix up the stage, which is kind of run down. We don't have any money for costumes or props or set pieces. And the true is same for other clubs, like travel fees and resource fees. But yeah, that's all I got for you.
Thank you. Great feedback. We have actually, as a part of a recent contract agreement with our teachers union to increase the money that teachers receive for supplies. That's a first step with something we'll continue to look at. We also are constantly reviewing the technology in our schools, including the technology for scanning and screening for weapons abatement. So I appreciate you raising that up as well. Thank you for the feedback.
Next up, we have Hugo Rosen.
Hi. So I'm representing Walls, and Walls' big issue is that we don't have a lot of traditional DCPS facilities. We don't have a gym, we don't have a track. I'm actually on the track team, and a lot of the time we have to run 3 miles down to Banneker to train. So I think that it would really help if we could get some funding for like buses to bring us to where we need to be and other stuff to remedy that lack of facilities. And another big budget priority that a lot of students care about is our lack of a mental health counselor. We had a full-time one, I believe, last year, but now she's only there part-time, and that impacts a lot of students negatively. And then finally, I think we could improve our cafeteria a lot. A lot of students have to go out and buy lunch, and there's not really much room in the commons. So if we had more funding for the cafeteria, maybe more students would like be able to eat inside if they chose to.
Thank you, Hugo. I greatly appreciate that. I had a student athlete at School Without Walls, so I understand the transportation and facility issue.
Next, can we have Chelsea, is it Lazo?
Yeah, it's Lazo. So I'm a senior at Banneker, and what I'm here to mainly talk about is having more outside resources to help aid students. And I'm like specifically more so talking about like virtual resources, because oftentimes we limit our resources to just like going and tutoring with teachers, but it would be best to be able to like fund like more virtual resources. And also I wanted to go back to what I believe Nevaeh had mentioned about internships. Here at Banneker, going to college is like the most important like what's it called? Important thing to us, and we want to have more opportunities to be able to have more hands-on experience in terms of like working in a career that we really want. And additionally here, I believe it's also district-wide, but the internet, I don't know if we've touched on that before, but the internet definitely is like very slow, and I also believe that there can also be a bit of more updated technology to help also cope with that. So yeah.
Thank you for the feedback. We've been working to enhance our infrastructure on internet, and Dr. Mastera's team works to ensure that that happens. So appreciate that feedback, and that's something we'll look into. And oh, before we go, are there any outside virtual resources that you have in mind, or just general feedback?
It was more general, but also I believe that as much as I understand that you want your students to focus a lot on the work, I feel like oftentimes we're like very limited. A lot of like resources like YouTube and stuff are blocked, and many students like myself, we use like YouTube to teach ourselves like certain lessons that we don't understand. So well, that would be up to you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Anthony Wages.
Hello. Okay, so it was okay. My answer for the first question is, I said I have a few actually, if y'all don't mind. I have a few, like I have like 4. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. So my first one is, I think we should have more field trips, like not like fun field trips, probably like, like all the games and stuff. I feel like we should have more college field trips, like things that, because it can give us a more hand-on based experience, like, because you can read all about colleges and you can read all about it, you can hear all about it, but everybody's experience is different. So if like you go there, you can see how things work. You see if you see people that's like you. You can what's it called? You can experience things in a more way that's unique to you, instead of just hearing about it and seeing about it from other people's perspectives. That was my first one. Another one is like my school has something called NAF academies, and that's like college and career readiness basically. It prepares you for the outside world. I'm in the finance NAF academy, and that teaches you about budgeting, savings, debt, cards, car loans, mortgages, stuff like that. And I feel like we need more funding for that, because I think that's a very important thing, such as the other academies, which is like digital media and engineering, which can actually benefit a lot of people in the long run. For it gives them a hand based on experience for different careers they can get into, like what building cars. We actually built a car and went in a race. I don't know if we won, but we actually built a car, a little go kart, and we actually raced it around the track. It was very adventurous and very informative for the students that participated in that. Digital media, they create like shoes, menus. I think is very educational for the kids that do stuff like that. Stuff like we need more funding for that, because if we get more funding, there's more things we can do as a school. We can, instead of having just like it being a required class, like just being a certain amount of kids that can take it, I feel like it should be like more broadcast and more, you know. Okay. I'm gonna move on to my next one. Sorry. Mental health clubs. That's like probably one of my biggest ones, actually. That's probably my biggest one. Wish I would led with that one, but it's okay. Like we should have more mental health clubs, because there's a lack of understanding when it comes to kids with unhealthy mental health who only find peace in engaging in narcotics. And me personally, I don't really like the smell of narcotics. It really it makes me nauseous. But I feel like there's people who only find comfort in engaging in drugs and stuff like that. And I feel like you can't stop them, because it's like if you stop them, it might be a worse outcome. So it's like you can't stop them. So like try to at least help them understand why they why they run to narcotics instead of talking to someone. Like I feel like if we have more of a support, like more of a funding on mental health clubs and mental health groups, and what are they called? I think they're called the people that you go to. It's is it a psychiatrist? Is that what it's called? Is that
It can be, but there are other mental health professionals, but psychiatrists is one.
Yeah, like guidance counselors and stuff like that, stuff of that sort. If we had more of those, more guidance counselors, and more like people you can come to and talk to for mental health, I feel like that would be better, because I don't think it's like what we have right now is very much effective. My last one, this is my final one, I promise. We do need funding for like electrical issues, like broken down things. We have downstairs, we have like broken light in the basement, we have broken lights. We need that to be fixed. We have like a little broken window, which is very hazardous. A lot of things in our school need to be fixed. We have terrible Wi-Fi. Not that bad, but it's bad. We have Wi-Fi issues. Sometimes we can't even get through first halves of lessons, because we use computers more than a lot of other things. So it's like it's hard for us to actually engage in activities and lessons due to Wi-Fi problems. That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Just a quick note here. So we're gonna give everyone a chance to answer this first question, and then we'll take a couple answers from the last two questions to keep us on track with time. So next up for this first question, we have Elijah.
Hello, I'm Elijah from Phelps. One of the budget priorities we would have at our school is probably the technology. Phelps is known for its technology and its trades, so sometimes I believe that we need more technology because we don't have a lot of it. We mostly work on paper, but usually sometimes there's not a lot of materials for the teachers to give out to the students because there's a lack of paper or lack of pencils. So that's what I feel like we would need more budgeting for or money for. And probably the third one would be probably more educational field trips, to keep the students going and have them learn something new instead of something over and over again. I think that's what we need. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Kiddis.
Hi, so for our first budget priority, for our school, we really need more computers and more updated computers because for our classes, we don't have those one-to-one computer student ratio. More than half of the computers don't work, or students are like sharing computers or going to another class to get a computer, but there's not enough computers for each class, and our classes are probably about like students.
Maybe like 30 max.
30 to 40 students max, and probably only 10 out of those computers will work. So that's our first priority. Our second priority would probably be funding for certain extracurriculars, because also I'm representing Dunbar, and so they focus a lot on the school's main sports like basketball and football and cheerleading, but for those smaller clubs like Majorette or like trying to build a soccer team or just student-led clubs, there's no funding for that. So it's like certain benefits we don't receive that the main sports will receive. So if there was a way for there to be like a funding budget for those smaller extracurricular activities, and as well as spaces for those activities, because we have a track, we have a field, we have a gym, but we don't have things like a dance studio or maybe soccer equipment or more art equipment, just things like that. And then for our third budget priority, what do you think of us?
Oh, for the third one, I was thinking that our school should be able to go on field trips for students so that way to places that can help them figure out what they want to do after they graduate from high school. Because a lot of people while they're in high school, they don't know what they want to do. And I know for some schools it's because they're not having enough exposure to things that are out here for them to do. So field trips to places where, businesses and stuff where people can explore and figure out what they want to do.
But don't require you to go.
Oh,
Like aside from college.
aside from college as well.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have students joining from Brandon Hall's computer.
Hi, this is Gabrielle. First on the list, I had hygiene products. Going into our bathroom, it's almost a guessing game if you're gonna have soap and toilet paper and paper towels. That is a resource that we are limited on. And it is like at the fault of students sometimes, especially like our younger ones. But I think we should still be able to, I can go in the bathroom and have soap. Second one was, I think somebody already said this, but teachers paying for resources. It's also not, like, I don't have anywhere in here where I could print something out. It is only available for our teachers to use. So I think maybe a printer for students to use, or just even being able to go into the library and use the school's printer. And lastly, I had more counselors. Going to a school with 2,000 people and around 500 in my grade alone, I don't have enough time to talk to my counselor, especially as a senior when I'm getting ready to go to college. I think we should have more than 2 counselors. I don't, in a better like college and career center, my school is very lucky to have an opportunity like that, but it's only accessible for kids who speak English, unfortunately. And I think it should be more accessible for students whose first language isn't English and have better resources to speak to these colleges.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have students joining from Mr. Wormsley's computer.
Yes, hi, my name is Shannon from Luke Seymour Opportunity Academy, and one of the biggest things that Luke Seymour needs is definitely the internet, and 90% of our work is on the computer, so we definitely need internet. Like, that's something we really need because it's messing up. The second thing is mental health. It's a lot of kids here that go through things from home, and
they come back to school and take it out on other people, and they need somebody to talk to because they probably not getting that at home. So we definitely need somebody to come to our school to talk to students more often. You wanna?
Oh yeah. One more thing we need is like more activities like soccer sports. Like we only have basketball like as a team and bowling. And I was and some kids like to play basketball or don't play it or don't know how to play it, but they would like to play like other sports such as football, soccer, and I mean that's the three majors. But I believe we should have like those and like we should get those, you know. And can I add one more? Clubs like student clubs. Like I think that's like a major like high school experience, and not being able like to have like a club to like rely on, like that would be very like fun to have our school, but I don't know, like that's what we will be looking to be fun if we can.
Yes, and I also wanted to talk about study abroad. A school like us, we need more spots open for us because we want to have that experience too. So we need more spots open for the study abroad. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And where would you want to study abroad?
Travel.
Where?
Me, I'm a photographer and I love to travel, and I didn't get that experience to travel. So I really want other kids to have that experience too. So.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have, I'm sorry, is it Mickey Yas?
It's Mickey, it's fine. Hi, my name is Mickey. I'm representing Duke Ellington, and our top three budget priorities for our school, according to our classmates, would be an improvement in special education funding. Currently, we have a 4 to 95 teacher to student ratio. So we have 4 special education teachers at our school while we have 95 students. That is a completely disproportionate ratio, and I don't believe at all that our funding currently could support our student population. We also need proper compensation for those teachers, seeing as our schedule is unique and we have an 8:30 to 5. Under DCPS, they only get paid from 8:30 to 3 o'clock, and most of these teachers are, because of the lack of the amount of teachers and administrators in the building, have to stay overtime. So having proper compensation for them would be an important improvement, and having more teachers in the building for our special education program would improve our school immensely. Another important budget topic that we need to talk about is mental health counselors. Currently, we only have 2.5 social workers because our school psychologist is only half-time at our school, and we only have 2 counselors in the entire school, even though we have 600 students. Students' mental health is an important part of how they contribute to their school, not only environmentally, but also academically, and in our case, artistically too. And being able to fund that properly would improve our school's welfare immensely. We also would like for there to be sustainable arts funding. That comes in many different ways. There's a lot of different facets for that, whether it be funding properly middle school art programs so that students are prepared and trained when they audition and come to our school, or properly funding and helping our arts teachers who are currently not paid for by DCPS. There's so many different facets that we could talk about when it comes to sustainable funding for the arts, but improving that in those ways in at least those 2 ways would immensely help us. So yeah, those are our 3 main budget priorities right now, but generally just improving the attention that's being given to us, because I think that there's a bit of a lack of that. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Next up we have Malik.
Our first budget priorities, based off of not just like our personal opinion, but what we hear a lot, especially during our freshman year, what we heard a lot was sports funding. Because it's not to say that our sports don't get enough funding, but I feel like we don't have that many sports options for sports teams. We only have football, basketball, track and field, and baseball and rugby. Now, part of it goes with the fact that our school is really small. We don't have that many students that are interested in other sports, but also it goes with the fact that we don't have a lot of staff nowadays. And that also goes with another funding, which is teacher funding. I feel like we're kind of low on staff nowadays. We only have a limited number of subs, and we just don't. Another thing, we don't really have that many AP classes or college courses or any teachers to teach those AP classes in the first place. And I feel like we need to have more of those to add more of a challenge to students, but also have more resources. It adds to our resources because I feel like our school gives us really good resources, but AP classes would be really big for us. That way it'll help us with our, going to the future for college, especially. But that's one thing we said together. You guys can add to it?
Nah, I agree. I agree.
All right,
Thank you.
Sorry, Chancellor. Next up, we have students joining from Jasmine Stewart's computer.
Okay, so some things that we wanted to, well, our top budget priorities we was looking for was technology and more funding to connect the schools to support our after-school programs and after-school sports. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, and next up, what? Were you going to say something else? We have students from Corey Tatris's computer.
I would like we do have a NAF program at our school, and I think because they're like their own program, they can do that. Because I'm in the NAF program myself, I witnessed it last year. Like we can go on like their college field trips and everything. But students who aren't in the NAF program, they have to they'll be going with other teachers, and it's like the NAF program has like their own funding. So what I'm trying to say is like the budget would be for field trips for other classes, like our physics class, like. He was like, that program, that field trip will have to be like out of our pockets because it's like that's an expensive field trip, and it's like in certain different depending on what program you're in, because like we do have multiple different programs, but I feel like math it's like by itself it's just our best program because like they have the money to afford many things, and also mental health because I am the AP and IB student, so I do know that it gets to you and sometimes you do need to go speak to a different a counselor or something, but you wouldn't get excused from class for it, so it's sometimes you don't know what you're supposed to do. Do you need to go to class or do you need to talk to a counselor? And also, we do have internet-based classes, and the Wi-Fi goes out. And what are we supposed to do when all the work is on the computer and there's nothing else for us to do? So Wi-Fi is of big importance. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. If you could please provide some of that information or a summary in the chat. Some of your comments were difficult to hear, and we want to be sure that we capture all of your feedback. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Darian Carter.
Hi, my name is Darian, and one thing I had. May I please skip me, please?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move. I see Brooke Edgecombe's computer.
Good afternoon, everybody. Again, I'm representing Roosevelt State. And my top three priorities, well, number one would be in our school to have maybe 100 or English learners. And I would like to receive more funding for our English learners who really want to learn English and get a stable job. And another thing would be in our school, we don't have a soccer team and a basketball team. And that two sports would be a great opportunity to use the funds, like building a soccer field, a basketball field, because many students have stress, and with playing outside, soccer and basketball could be a good way to students, get away with his problems, enjoy And my third priority would be nursing. Nursing, I think, health is a good it's an important thing. But sometimes our students can feel down, can feel bad, but they don't really have nursing and bills, you know. And cafeteria, cafeteria is a big problem with the food. Some students don't even eat and go with class, with the stomach empty. They really pay attention. So that's a really important thing to make sure you guys could observe with that. And
I'm also here from Roosevelt. I'm also here from Roosevelt State, and I wanted to add. I just wanted to add on when he was saying something about the nursing. That's really important. Something that we really need at our school. A nurse. It's the same thing. A nurse, basically. Okay.
Thank
That's it.
you.
Okay, next, and I'm sorry about if I pronounce this wrong. Is it Asim?
It's Isam from
Isam,
McKinley
thank you.
Tech. I just wanted to bring up that our school's technology isn't is pretty subpar for a tech school. We aren't actually able to facilitate a lot of the things our programs have, like our engineering programs and our biotech facilities. We don't have engineering labs, we don't have biotech labs, and so we aren't actually able to exhibit our potential capabilities at this school. And since our school is historical, there's a lot of restraints preventing that as well. We could also speed up the capital improvement program, whether that is like improving the facilities or just putting us into another building that could actually, give us the space and things we need to actually do what we want to do at our school.
Thank you. We'll take the Cardozo students, and then Rakaya, I think it is, Shelby Taylor, and then we're going to take a few comments on the last two questions with the last 5 minutes or so. Students from Cardozo, you guys are up next.
Hello, so my name is Rakia Lakis.
Oh, my name is Anthony Wilson.
And
We represent Blue State.
yeah, so we here to talk to y'all about like transportation. We need in our school, we need transportation and stuff. And
See, the thing is, we have to take the train and the bus, and the train and bus is not always reliable.
yeah.
So I feel like it'd be better we have transportation or funding for transportation. That way, it'll be easier for some students to get to school back home.
Quicker, yeah, because we need to get to school instead of stay home.
On top of that, our school is also like very stuffy.
Yeah.
And we have air filters, but they're so loud the teachers don't want to cut them on because they overpower them as they teaching. So I feel like we should have like maybe quieter filters or something, because it's a big issue about the school being stuffy and people coughing and getting kind of sick.
And it's sick and stuff. It causes bacteria.
Thank you. What kind of transportation would you want? I'm just curious.
Well, it doesn't matter, like a school bus or something.
It don't matter.
It really doesn't really matter.
Just anything that can help.
So you want a school bus to come pick you up?
Sorry for interrupting. I'm again representing for Roosevelt State. I'm just want to say something about transportation thing. I mean, something specific would be like with transportation with AC, something like that, a luxury transportation.
Okay, thank you.
Like, when it comes to transportation, it really doesn't matter. It's just
All right, next we have students joining from Dr. Blake's computer.
All right, so I would say we need some funding for our sports program because it's a lot of athletes that be complaining about like the gear and stuff like that. They gotta pay stuff out of their own pockets, or sometimes they don't have the jersey number that they want, or they don't have new uniforms, and we've been wearing the same uniforms for I don't know how long. And then I would say devices and Wi-Fi because some kids they don't begin like the same time that other people get on their work because they have to wait on their computer to load or stuff like that. And we don't have chargers, so like we be having to put it on like a crate, and it just be confusing. So and then what's another thing? Oh, food people, athletes, they don't get to eat and stuff, and then they have to go to practice. So then they be going to practice with an empty stomach, and that'd be a mess. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback.
All right, we have Shelby Taylor, and then we are going to move on to the next few questions and take a couple comments there. But this is the last comment on question number 1.
Okay. My name is Shelby. Shelby Taylor. I'm from Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, and things that I have to speak on our top 3 things that we need funding for are technology. There are some classes that go without technology simply because we do not have enough technology, and classes may have computers and other classes may not have the computers and so forth, as well as translators. We're a heavily immigrated school with Hispanic, Black people, and so forth, with all of the races. There are some people here that don't always speak English or may not know the language perfectly, and all teachers are unable to translate their work into Spanish simply because I'm not sure if it allows it. I'm not really sure why, but I think that there should be more translators implemented so that we all have a fair chance at learning what we need to know and knowing what we need to know at our school. Our school does do the best they can with what they do have, but all teachers do not speak both languages, which is a disadvantage. Which is a disadvantage to those who do speak 2 languages, who only speak Spanish or don't know English as well as they know Spanish. Then my third one is more space. Last year we were busting at the seams because we were immigrated with Roosevelt State, but now that they have moved out and they're only taking up one hallway, the student population has grown, and there's way more of us than it was last year, and there's students there's teachers who don't have their own classrooms and have to move around on a cart, which is unfair to them. There's also teachers that have to leave their class because another class has to be held in their class, and that's unfair to that teacher because that's their break time. Then I wanted to add on about what everyone else said about school sports. We have one of the best football teams in DCIAA, and one of the best baseball teams, basketball teams, so forth. But there are other teams that are neglected, such as tennis. Our tennis court is not where it needs to be. There's a cone in the middle of it, and it's just broken down, then it's fixed again, then it's broken down. So I think that that should be something else that we need to work on here at Roosevelt, because if students that play tennis, such as myself, are unable to practice with a fully equipped court, it can lead to bad things. I mean, not bad things happening, but it can lead to disadvantages when you get to play a real match.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's
you
all.
sharing. Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much for your great feedback. We're going to go ahead and we'll take maybe 2 comments on the second question, which is schools will receive funding based on students' needs. What does this mean to you? And then feel free to write in the chat with any ideas you have on either question 1 or question 2, and then we'll turn it back to the Chancellor to close us out. I'll take May on the second question here.
All right, well, hello everyone. My name is May Aurora. I'm a junior representing School Without Walls, and I'm also an Associate of Arts degree student at the George Washington University Early College Program. I'll just begin by providing my insight on the second question about like what I believe students' needs are based off of funding. I'm also part of the Student Government Association at Walls, and really our main goal is to help bridge communication between us students and the school administration. And really one of the ways that I believe that we can do that is through solving some of the issues that the Walls community still faces. As other students had pointed out, as well as what Hugo had pointed out, who's also representing School That Walls with me, we were mostly concerned about funding for our clubs as well as for our extracurricular activities. Obviously, Walls is a small school and we don't really have the same facilities as say other larger DCPS schools that would have say a gym or a track for many of our teams. However, given the fact that we are located on the GW campus, I still believe that it's important that we actually gain access to many of the facilities that they have over there. For example, our tennis team sometimes has to relocate to different venues that are far outside the School Without Walls campus or really Foggy Bomb in general. And while that's also an issue with transportation, I feel that would be a lot more helpful if we can actually gain access to GW facilities like ones on their Mount Vernon campus where they have multiple tennis courts. The same would also go for our soccer team where they can also play on that same Mount Vernon campus field, or even our basketball team where they can play at the Charles E. Pitt Center that's literally right next to Walls. So while this may be an issue that may be outside the DCPS budget team's jurisdiction, I still think that it is still something that we can make a reality, considering our close relationship with GW. And I also believe that if we actually hone more into this issue of like our relationship between Walls and the GW community, we can also set precedent for establishing stronger ties between DCPS high schools as well as colleges in general. And also, of course, with the issue with Wi-Fi, I think that's also an important issue that would meet student needs because, again, like many students have also talked about, our Wi-Fi has improved slowly, at least in our basement. Now there are a lot more routers that many of our students in our science department can access, but still there's this issue with DCPS blocking many educational websites such as Aspen and Canvas or even Google Docs that really does harm us students. And I really think that should be a problem that should be addressed. And also lastly, with our school lunches, I mean, I know that from last year and even this year, I've heard lots of my classmates complaining about the quality of our lunches, and I think that could be something that could be improved. And I believe, again, with the strategic 5-year plan that DCPS has in mind, this idea of like building stronger ties between our school communities at DCPS and even colleges that are near DCPS campuses would be something to consider.
Thank you. Yeah, there's lots of good feedback. I think there's history. We did have access to some of GW's facilities, but the school didn't manage that well. So unfortunately, we lost those privileges. But happy to support the administration if they want to try to go back to GW to get access to the facilities.
And I think at this point, I want to make sure we have time for you, Chancellor, to close us out. So please, folks, keep using the chat to share your feedback on especially questions 2 and 3, and we will definitely capture all of that in the notes as well. So Chancellor, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you again, everyone, for the wonderful feedback today. We certainly heard you. There's certain themes that we'll take back to our team around technology, internet, here to call for extracurriculars, certainly hear your feedback about food service as well, and mental health support. So our team has been taking various copious notes today, and we'll continue to reflect on all of your comments today. And we thank you again for your feedback and making time for the discussion today. For those of you that are seniors, wishing you best as you close out your DCPS journey and prepare for graduation. and everyone else that's going to be in DCPS until you graduate. We look forward to seeing how our resources will best support you in your DCPS journey as well. Have a great afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Yep. Thank